What is the hardest part of training a new agent?
I think part of it when they're new is they have to understand it. I mean, obviously we're super busy right now and grinding it out, but it's a grind in the beginning. And they have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get in front of people or they're not going to be successful. So, if they don't want to go to a food pantry or work a Walmart booth or whatever it is, they're probably not going to be very successful. Yeah. I mean, you got to get started somewhere. It's not something you have to do forever if you don't enjoy it.
Right.
But it's a grind in the beginning.
Well,
and you got to
put in the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Medicare Sales Playbook. I'm your host, Dallas Keithley. Can't tell you how much I appreciate you investing some of your time and allowing us to come in and speak to you and help you build your Medicare book one play at a time. We hope that the episodes that you have been watching and listening to have helped you out. We love hearing the feedback, the comments, the shares, the like. We are truly honored to be able to visit with you. And today, I want to jump right into it. I've got some guests that we've been efforting for a while. We have with us today the Noels, not the Noels. I said that for probably about 3 years before finally somebody corrected me. But the Noels from Nixa, Missouri with Insurance Educators. We got Rusty, Michelle, Sydney. Thank you guys very much for being here. Appreciate y'all.
Glad
to be here.
You got it. Now, these guys, I want to warn everybody because you guys are doing something that not a lot of people are doing. Okay, I want to give some numbers. Sydney and Michelle said they had some numbers. So right now, as we record this, it is, what are we at? October the 30th, right? We are, 2 weeks in to AEP? Talk to us about some numbers, how you guys are doing, how AEP is going. No, who wants to jump with it there?
Oh, well, we've been on the road.
Okay.
So, and we do 2 membership meetings every day with groups of our clients. So we see anywhere from 15 to 30 people at a time in those meetings. So we've seen a lot of people in the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
We've done 11 Medicare seminars in the mix.
So those are for new people.
For new people.
Member meetings for existing, seminars for new.
Yep.
Okay.
And
11 in how long? In 2 weeks?
We did the first couple the first part of October.
Okay.
But last week we did 6 last week.
Yeah.
I think 6 of those were last week. And prior to that we did 5 right at the beginning, like the second week of October or something like that.
Goodness.
30 membership meetings total.
30 membership meetings, 11 AEP. Rusty was telling me, he said, I asked him how in the elevator, I said, how's AEP going? He said, we leave on Monday morning. We come home on after midnight on Friday.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, so you're leaving and then coming home every night at midnight? And he goes, no. We are leaving and not coming home.
Yep.
Till after midnight.
She's
for a week.
Yep. She's been holding down the fort, running the office, and we're gone all week.
Whew. You know, what's funny is, and you and I have had this conversation, I think you even asked me, like, Dallas, I'm trying to recruit, I'm trying to get agents to come work with me. And then they come work with me and they're like, no. Like, I want Rusty's income. I want to be on the top of that leaderboard, but I don't want to be Rusty. I don't want to do what Rusty does, right?
Yeah.
And that's
definitely
hard.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Training with some of the new agents that we have, I joke, but I was out with one of them the other day and we was just appointments after appointments after appointments. And all of a sudden he's like, do you ever stop for food? He's like, I am starving to death. I've got to get a cheeseburger. And so I'm like, you got to speak up. Like, I'm like, this is AEP, and so.
We eat on December 8th.
That's right. That's right. And we eat good.
Yeah, we eat good. We eat on December 8th.
That's right. That's right. So, but you get in that and you kind of totally forget when you get in that mindset and it's just go, and it is different. We tell new agents coming in, like, it's busy. You're not going to be Rusty busy,
Right.
That's a whole other level of busy, and I love it, but most people won't and can't, do that. So
Yeah, and so I've got to kind of sit back on the sidelines and watch y'all grow and stuff like that. When we first met, it was rusty, like pretty much, right? Like you were coming into the business.
Yep.
But let's go back even further. You guys were educators, correct? Worked in the education system. Talk about, man, you went through some rough stuff. Like it's not always been peaches and cream or whatever you want to call it.
No.
Talk about getting into the business, coming from the education world, and your journey into it.
Yeah. Do you want me to take that?
Yeah.
So, ours is kind of the American comeback story. You know, we had a different kind of business in the entertainment industry, bowling center, movie theater, whatever. We did that for 17 plus years. Put everything we had, I mean, literally everything, put our house up as collateral and everything. And we lost that through bankruptcy. So when we did that, if it wasn't for a family member, we would have lost the house too. And so we were at rock bottom. Coming out of that, I went back into education for a job. She was teaching the whole time, and we lost everything. So I went back into education for work, and knew I wasn't going to stay, but I liked educating, in general, because that's what we've always done, is something relating to education. And so happened to stumble into insurance through her dad. Her dad worked at Blue Cross and kind of got into Medicare Advantage on the side as a part-time thing after he retired. And he's like, hey, I think you'd be good at it. You need the money. If you got time, I think you should do it with me. And I jumped in, and after 3 or 4 months, I knew this was what I was supposed to do.
Why? What was it?
Because I could educate people like I wanted to do. I wanted to educate, and I could instantly see the impact that we would make in people's lives. It was an instant thing. You sit down with them, and you can change their life instantly by benefits and by their health plan and all that kind of stuff. And you could instantly see that. In the classroom, you could see that with kids years down the road. She would have kids come back 10 years later and say, oh, you was the greatest teacher, now I'm doing this. Well, I could see it in months, or at the kitchen table sitting down with one person. So from the spouse's perspective, because I failed at insurance twice, and I think it was harder on my wife than it was on me, because as a dude, man, I can nail 2 boards together. I can make a living. I can eat ramen and all that. But then when you throw the family dynamic into it, and you've got people relying on you. When he started talking about getting into insurance, what were your thoughts? I mean, was it a, let's do it, or I don't know?
At the time, I was like, go for it. I mean, he did it. He learned all about it while he was teaching. So he would teach during the day, come home and study at night. He would study during the day. And
while in class?
While he was in class.
We did our homework together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, I mean, at that point, he had been subbing before he got back into the classroom regularly. So we were probably, a year or 2 just on my income. Mm-hmm. Wow. And our girls were involved in everything. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it affected everybody. They worked in the business there too. So, yeah, it affected everybody. And so, we did every fundraiser we could do to keep them involved in everything. So it didn't affect them in that way. And so I was, after he started the day after Thanksgiving, 2018. And when did you tell him you were going to resign? February, March?
February.
And
I knew before Christmas.
Wow.
And I was like, go for it,
Yep.
So the rest is history.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And I love hearing that side of the story because, like I said earlier, everybody sees the Facebook side of our lives like, man, they've got it made. They've got it easy. But they don't realize, they don't see the stuff we don't post. They don't see the backstory, right? Like, that's why I love kids, man. Like, your kids saw it all. They saw what you went through.
Yep.
They've seen you work hard, and now they get to see the fruits of that labor. That's pretty cool. That's really neat.
Yep.
So you get into it and you're working just like, for lack of a better term, a man possessed, right? Like what during those days? Was that accurate?
That's accurate.
It was very accurate.
Yeah. During those days, was there still a fear? What drove you? Was there still a fear in the back of your mind, like, we've been through bankruptcy and I will not go back there? Is that what it was?
It's still there today.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll never happen again. But it's always in the back of my mind. Once you've experienced something like that, it's a driving force that somebody else don't have. And I say now, I mean, in a weird sort of way, that may be the best thing that happened to us in some ways, because it is a huge motivator.
Yeah.
That not only that'll never happen to us, that'll never happen to our kids, and it will never happen to any agent that we bring on our team, because we want them to be successful like we have. We don't want anybody to have to go through what we did, because it was miserable. I mean, in many ways it was miserable. But, you know, if we can touch the lives of other agents and not have them go through that and just hear our stories, we're pretty happy about that.
Yeah. And, you know, in my opinion, I think that's why you guys are making it. I see agents that their main desire is money, right? And don't get me wrong. I like money. I've been without money. I've had money. I like it better on the ladder, right?
Yeah.
However, I was talking to an agent recently. He's like, dude, I'm doing better than I ever thought I would. I really am. He's like, my dad never made six figures, you know, and I'm about to double that. He said, but I really thought there'd be more happiness with this. And I'm like, dude, it's not. Like, money does not buy happiness. It can buy a jet ski, and you can be happy on a jet ski, but it doesn't buy that fulfillment.
No.
When you guys have, like, when I ask you what drives you, you never mentioned money, right? You mentioned we are helping people. We're helping our clients. I'm helping my kids. I'm helping my family. And then I'm helping agents never go through what I went through.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
I was just going to say, I always tell everybody when they ask us, the money's like the bonus. That's not why we do this, you know. And obviously, I haven't done it as long as he has, but just the instant differences that I saw in people, you know, whose lives that we were touching. I mean, it was amazing. It had an impact on me, you know, and it's all about the people and helping as many as we can, and that's why we go the way we do this time of year.
Right.
And when you have clients in membership meetings that will give testimonials to the group, you know, that's a pretty cool experience that will stand up and say what we've done, how we've changed things for them, you know.
We just had that happen yesterday.
Yeah.
That's louder than you speaking. You can get up and say everything right and perfect, but when they get up and say, hey, listen, these folks made a difference in my life, that, you know, because you're supposed to say that.
Right, correct.
They don't have to, and they do. That's pretty cool. So you're out there, you're working like crazy, you're driven, you're focused, and then you kind of hit a ceiling, right? Like I've always said, Cody and I were talking this morning, and we were talking about people that hit their ceiling. And he said, Dallas, I don't know if I believe in a ceiling. Well, I agree. Most people probably really aren't at their ceiling. Like they're working as hard as maybe they want to, but there's always more they could be doing. But is it fair to say that you kind of got to the point where you're like, okay, there's only so many hours in a day. So now it was time to get organized and work smarter, not harder. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because I could only have toothpicks in my eyes for so long.
Like you got to have a cheeseburger.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the head has to hit the pillow occasionally.
Yeah.
You know, and it got to, and that's where we got to the point where, and that was a tough point because I knew how much she loved being in the classroom, but I still went to her and I said, hey, I've got to have help. And I know you're not ready to retire, so you're going to have to help me like in the evening, but you're going to have to help me find somebody because like I can only do so much, you know, I can do a lot, but I can only do so much, you know. And at that point, it wasn't even about improving efficiencies and it was just like, I only thought there was one way, and I just had to have somebody else doing it my way too,
Right.
And through that process, she changed her mind. That was her on her, and she decided to come in and join the agency and help. But then we started figuring out, okay, well, you're doing it like this, and we could do it like this, and it'd be so much better and more efficient, or have this organized and not do that. That's really hard for me, okay? Because it's my way or the highway, and so changing that's been major for me.
Yeah.
But
We're all proud of
starting.
that.
We are. I am so
Yeah.
proud you just said that. That's awesome.
But
She's crying over there.
yes, she is. But and it's hard. Pride thing, whatever. I was the one started it. All that kind of mushy stuff. But I'm starting to realize that it's better if I'm not the one that creates it or puts it in place. If somebody else does it and runs with it, it's usually better off. I can help create the idea and implement, okay? But if somebody else does it that has a different point of view, it's probably going to be better than coming from me.
Well, I mean, I would look at it again from the outside, and I would say there is nobody better at hitting the road and writing apps than Rusty Noel, right? But, man, it's like you said, it's the humility side of it saying, but what we don't see is we look at it as, okay, I'm going to be humble and let them do something. When really, you can call it God or whatever, is saying, hey, listen, I want you to do more of what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm putting this person in your life to allow you to be you.
Yeah.
And man, that is hard. I started in the business with Brian and Cody and them in 2014. We started Secure, and at that point, if somebody would have said, "What's your job?" we would have all said, "Whatever needs to be done." Now that it's grown and stuff like that, and Impact has come along and all that stuff, it's hard because we'll have we've got 9 owners now and all this stuff, and it's hard because all the time Chris will come to me and say, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, it needs to be done." He's like, "Hey, we've got somebody that specializes in that. Let them do that. Here's what you're good at."
Yeah.
And so it's a humility thing. It's saying, look, okay, let them do their thing.
Yeah.
But then, so you guys, you're working as a team, you're seeing it grow and grow and grow. And I remember sitting down with you guys, and you brought Sydney in, right? And we were sitting in this building, and Sydney was working some kind of medical field, right?
Yeah. At Cox.
What was it?
At Cox.
At Cox, out here in town. And I'm telling her, hey, you need to be in the insurance business. You need to be helping these guys. And she's like, I don't know. What was the reservation?
Well, I mean, I got my degree in exercise and movement science, and I mean that's really my passion. It's just health and wellness, and I was doing that, and so I enjoyed it. I don't know. I really wasn't sure what it was all about, and so I didn't know if I wanted to step in.
Yeah, and man, so
she kind of seen from the outside too. She was like,
exactly. That's what I was going to say.
She seen Dad leaves, and then I hear Dad come in at 1:00 in the morning, and maybe I don't want that.
Maybe that's what
I mean, that's very true. I was like, I don't know if I want to step into all that.
Yeah, but man, the way you have come in, so you came in and kind of describe now what your role is in all of this.
Yeah, so I have done a lot of just the organization, systems, processes. We recently switched to a new CRM, and so I helped get that set up, and then just really putting systems in place and organization. There was very much a lack of that when I came in.
And man, like, I don't know that you guys could have, I'm not just saying this because she's your daughter and she's here. I don't know that you guys, just again, from the outside looking in, could have went out and found someone that could do what she's doing. Is that fair to say?
Very fair.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you guys tried to find people, and just like no one ever worked out. And,
bad timing on some things, but it just never worked out.
Well,
Is it because you can be more direct with them and say, hey, I love you, but you've got to do this. You've got to do that.
Yeah, I will say I've definitely grown in boldness over the last year and being direct. So, that is an advantage. But also, like, I'm just a very organized person. Like, that is one of my strengths. And I knew this is what they need. And I knew I could step into that role and do it well.
Yeah. So so we're in AEP right now, like I said. What does a day look like for you helping them?
Yeah, so I've been staying back at the office, helping just, answer phones and just the tasks that come up throughout the day. But primarily right now, I'm helping get them prepped for the meetings, the membership meetings they've been doing. So I'll get all the people that are registered. I'll make sure that all of their, medications doctors are in the system. All of their eligibility stuff is together, and basically have everything ready to go when they come back so they can grab it and go again.
Yeah. You said one time in the beginning, you had a dream that one day you would walk in, you would grab the files for the clients you were going to see that day, you would go see the clients, you would write the app or retain them, whatever it was, come back to the office, lay the files down, somebody else did that work, and then you got to do it again. And you're like, now I get to do that.
Yeah.
How cool is that to get to do that now?
And that's because of her.
It's super cool. And, back then I thought that was years down the road and kind of a pipe dream maybe, but yeah, we're already there, and even steps maybe even beyond that, already. So,
And we've added a couple of others. So it's Sydney, and then we have a couple other ladies in the office, and everybody's just made it better.
Yeah.
They've been
started
huge
last year
help.
with her, and right before AP, not too much before, and survived and added 2, and we already need 2 more.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I thought Brian was joking when he told me, when you realize you need to hire 1, you should just go ahead and hire 2 because you need them. It's very true. Very true, So, but yeah, and it seems like as you grow, everything just grows so much faster,
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep up with sometimes. So.
A couple questions from that. I want to camp on one other thing here, and I want to ask Michelle, what is the hardest part about working with family, and what are the benefits of work? Because there's people out there right now that are thinking, man, maybe my daughter could step in and do this, or my wife could step in and do this, but they have hesitations. What's hard? What's the benefit?
I think sometimes that we would all say it's too much family time sometimes, because everybody needs their space sometimes. And, we put in some long days and long hours, and we take stuff home if we need to, that's probably hard sometimes. What was the second part of your question?
What's the benefit of it? You're obviously. Well, let me back up. I'm assuming you're happy that y'all are doing this.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The flip side of that is it is more time together, even though we're working, and I've gotten to watch the 2 of them realize that they're a lot more alike than they thought. And I think their communication has improved and gotten better. And so I think it's been a blessing in that way.
That's got to be cool for a mom to
It
watch,
is.
right?
It is.
That's my wife's desire. She's like, hey, talk to your girls. And I'm like, I did. I said good morning and told them good morning.
And when they are bouncing on, because, she's the reason we're so organized. And, and then the other 2 ladies, Anna and Sue, they kind of help her. And it's been neat to watch her bring her ideas to him, or she'll be working in the CRM and he'll be like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm doing this, and watching them kind of discuss. And it's just a neat dynamic to watch.
So who has surprised you more at their ability to shift and use each other?
He probably has.
Yeah.
Because, he really
I've
has.
caved a lot more.
But he's right in what he
the
said
best.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yes. He needs to do what he does best, like
Yeah.
you said. And he needs to let us, and her especially,
Do your thing.
be the operation and do her thing. Because there's stuff she thinks of that and ways to do it that we won't think of.
Yeah, you got a Ferrari sitting in the garage. You don't
Yeah.
need him turning the wrenches.
Yeah.
Like, get out there and drive. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some numbers and how many people will you say? Let's use 2024. We're drawing to the end of 2024. How much has your business grown number-wise in 2024? I don't know if you have specifics or just an idea. They're all looking at you.
We'll have at least probably over 300 new clients
In AEP or
in 2024.
in 2024. Okay.
Yeah, not counting AAP.
Right.
Not counting this AAP.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that what you mean? Or are you counting this AAP?
No, I was counting.
I mean, because
So he says
because
those
we
are low.
probably
We had over 200 before AP started.
Wow.
New. And
Yeah.
then
and then every day, like we'll text each other because we'll be out, and she'll be like, "Oh, 2 more," and
Yeah.
I'll be like, 2 more,
or,
because
we got 6 new ones today.
Wow. That's
and
cool.
that comes from how well we take care of our clients. It's about customer service, and so anybody that's struggling to maintain their book, they probably need to work on servicing their clients, because that's really why we get the referrals that we get, because they can call us and
Yeah.
we're on the other end of the line, and they can, or we'll get back to them, and we take care of them.
Wow.
Yep.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I figure it probably will be a little more than 100 new ones in AAP. I figure it'll probably be, by the time we get through our seminar people and all that we did, I figure we'll probably be 200 or more new clients
new
just
clients.
from AAP, probably.
So, what does that bring the total to?
We'll be,
A lot.
oh gosh,
I mean, what did we start with
we'll be, but
before?
we'll probably be 1,800 or more, maybe.
1,800 clients. Okay.
Yep.
I wanted that number because you guys are in a place. Now, we're talking to all different types of agents here. We're
Right.
talking to brand new, we're talking to middle of the road, and then we're talking to veteran agents. 1,800 clients. If you were to diagram your business, how much of it is retaining? And I know that switches throughout the year because you guys do turning 65 seminars throughout the year and grow and grow and grow. How much is retaining / customer service? How much of it is new business, working on getting new business in?
Like from a time perspective kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
We just started
What-
the seminars in January.
yeah,
We've
we
never
just
done
started doing
seminars.
seminars,
Yeah.
in January of 24.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're just now kind of in the infancy of those, but we've done several.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say we're probably, I don't know, would you say 50-50?
50-50.
You know,
Yeah.
50%, maybe a little more maintaining client base, and then the rest of it is growing the business.
Yeah.
And but again, at that number, it's really hard to grow the business when you get to those bigger numbers, to be able to keep growing and adding staff and being able to, it's kind of like a snowball, when it starts building up and it gets bigger, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and harder
Yeah.
to maintain. And, but we've been able to do that so far. And I think we've been able to do it fairly well.
The
So-
reason I ask all of that is you have agents out there that are sitting there going, well, I'm not that busy during AEP. What am I doing wrong? Right? People have to understand AEP, the purpose of AEP the main purpose is not to go out and write new business. It's to maintain what you have.
Right.
And that's right. You guys are killing it right now and maintaining, but then also keeping a focus on
Yeah.
adding new stuff.
And that's the thing I think that most agents miss is if you do a good job of maintaining, you will automatically build the business because that maintaining that service level is what will get you those referrals. I mean, it is every day that our phone rings that says, hey, we're a new client. We got referred by, whoever. They said you did great for them. Can we speak to you? I mean, that is
Every day.
that is every day. It's just when it starts happening, it's a cool thing, but it's taking care of those clients one at a time.
I heard somebody say this the other day, and I think it rings very true. And I want to get y'all's perspective on this. And then I'm going to ask you one final question. This business is easy or is hard. It's really hard until it's not. Do you remember a time when you're like, because I know in the beginning, you're just Like, man, you would sell your soul for an appointment, right? Like, please just let me get in front of somebody. And then all of a sudden, there's a point where it just kind of clicks over. You're like, okay, people are coming in naturally. There's organic growth and all that stuff. Is that true for you guys as well, or what are your thoughts on that?
Do you want me to take that, or? Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, I mean, it is kind of naturally growing, and it switched, and that's what I was mentioning the other day. I was out with a new agent, and we was going through stuff, and there's just so many things that are just automatic for me, you know. And I told Michelle, I'm like, hey, I honestly think I'm not the person that should be training new agents, okay? Because there's so many things, it's automatic for me, and I kind of skip, you know, and you know, I'm going to either have to rethink that process altogether and really work on training at a really base level, or somebody else needs to kind of head that up so that don't happen, you know, because we want to make sure they're trained properly and not skipping steps and stuff, you know. But yes, that does kind of just, you kind of get in the groove, and just things are just kind of natural. It's just a, you know, and agents have said, how did you know to do that, or do that with that plan, or this or that, you know?
Just,
and yeah, I'm like, I've done it enough.
How did you know how to walk?
That's right. You know, I said, you'll get it, but just take some time, you know? But you need somebody to hold your hand through that process, you know, that, you know. And I was lucky enough that the person that trained me was very good at training new agents. I'm very thankful for her. And when you start somebody and tell them the right steps, and they do that from day one, it makes them a much better agent, you know? And so.
Okay. So now you guys are moved into the portion of your business of bringing in agents and training them and helping them grow. How many agents do you guys have now?
What are we?
What? 1, 2, 3.
7 or 8, not counting us. Yeah,
Seven
7
or
or
eight?
8, not counting us.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole new ballgame, right? Like, to me, there are days, man, when I'm like, okay, you can train somebody or you can just go sell. Whew, selling's not bad, because then I'm relying on me. You know, I can knock on doors all day, but I can't. What is the first part of the question? What is the hardest part of training a new agent?
I think part of it when they're new is kind of what he was talking about a few minutes ago, but they have to understand it. I mean, obviously we're super busy right now and grinding it out, but it's a grind in the beginning, and they have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get in front of people, or they're not going to be successful. So, you know, if they don't want to go to a food pantry or work a Walmart booth or whatever it is, they're probably not going to be very successful. I mean, you got to get started somewhere. It's not something you have to do forever if you don't enjoy it.
Right.
But you got to, it's a grind in the beginning, and you got to
put in the time.
And that's something a lot of people don't realize. People are like, oh, well, they're getting a lot of clients because they do Medicare seminars, right? And they're spending a lot of money on marketing and doing all that stuff. But it didn't start out that way, right?
No. We've never done one until January of this year, you know, and had, you know, a huge book of business. You know, we did it by grassroots marketing and food pantries and different things like that, you know. And, you know, but, you know, it just comes back to that, working with new agents, making sure that they're doing the right steps. I was with an agent just the other day, and we went into a house, and he had an appointment lined up and didn't have all of his stuff ready. And, you know, I'm like, you got to have everything ready. And he was going through the stuff, you know, with the gentleman, you know, and the mom and dad's in the room, you know, and he's like, okay, we're working through it. And he gets a plan, and he's like, is there anything else? I'm like, yep, there's 2 more things. And he's like, what's that? And I'm like, her and him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, they got Medicare.
Yeah.
We're writing them today.
You're sitting in front
You know,
of people.
I'm like, what, you know? And so we got done, and we walked out, and he was like, what just happened? He was like, I went in with 1 appointment, and we got 3 apps. He was like, this stuff is crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, you got to tell people what you do.
Yeah.
You tell everybody what you do. When you go in a house, you tell everybody. You want to tell the dog what you do, you know, because everybody needs to know.
We offer pet insurance.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Whatever it is, you know, in all your circles, you know, you got to be proud of what you do, and you got to tell everybody that, you know, and that's just how it happens, you know.
Yeah. Love that.
So
And the organization, I think that's hard. making
Yeah.
them realize they have to be organized. Of course, that goes back to the teacher in me.
Right.
You know, when we give them all the stuff and then they're like, where is it? Or what's this or what's that? And I'm just like, middle school flashbacks. It's like right here.
It's right there. Yeah, right where we left it. Yeah. And you have a real business. This
Yeah.
is not just a,
Yep.
Yeah.
this is a real business that you've got to run like a real business and all that stuff. Okay, second part of the question is, if you're sitting down with a new agent today, somebody hears this and they're like, you know what, I want to get into insurance. What is some advice? And I want to do it from every aspect. I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Organizationally, what advice would you give a brand new agent today?
I mean, I would say before you just go out there and try to start killing it, have a process, know what you're going to do with their papers. And, if you want to use, an electronic system or paper system, just have that in place when you go in.
Don't use a paper system, please. call if you're thinking about using a paper system, call Sydney first. Yeah, have the organization. Yeah, and I talked to Tony Holland. We had him on recently. Christian Brindle was on, and he's like, man, both of them said, I wish I could go back and say, hey, get a tax guy, get an attorney, incorporate from the beginning, all that stuff, right? The organizational side of it. And you guys may be thinking that too, like, man, I wish I would have gone back and done it right from the beginning, right?
Well, it's a lot easier to go in with all of those things in place rather than getting 10 feet in and having to try to backtrack and set everything up when you're already busy and trying to, write business and keep up with your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think sometimes, though, what I see from agents is they're like, yeah, but I got to eat, because if I go and incorporate, that means I've got to now I got to license myself. I got to license my business, and that's double the contracting work because I got to contract both of those. And they're like, I got to eat. But man, just that little bit of sacrifice in the beginning and setting up right makes it so much easier later. Right?
So much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
and
you?
There's a lot to learn. And it's hard in the beginning. And they need to know that going in. It's hard, and they're not going to know it all at first. They're going to make some mistakes, but they need to learn from those mistakes and move forward and use them as a stepping stone to grow and not get frustrated and not let don't let that defeat you. Find somebody else, go the next person, and I just stay positive. Keep a positive attitude and keep after it.
Off of that, I think a lot of you study, you get licensed and whatever, but I think a lot of the learning, at least for me, has just been through experience.
Yep.
Yep.
Learn from what you're going through.
Yeah. And that's what we've told them. They've asked us about how did we do the food pantry and how do we do the Walmart and whatever. And it's like, I can kind of tell you, but I'm going to be honest with you. You have to just go do it and figure out what works.
Yeah.
We can give them tips, but it is a hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference from somebody coming and saying, hey, can you help me? Are there some pitfalls that you wish you would have known about, yada, 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 to somebody coming and saying, what's the magic formula?
Yeah.
How do I go out there and just kill it? Well, you go do it.
Yeah.
There is
Go
no
do it.
magic.
How hard are you willing to work?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I remember that. I vividly remember that as being a new agent, going through, getting my license, certifications. I'm doing all this studying, and finally get everything in place. And so I work with the person I'm working with. And like, okay, so now what do we really do? I'm like, I've got this information, but what's the process? I'd never been out on an appointment. I'd never done a ride along. I wish I'd done that stuff before, and they're like, okay, we get on the phone, we book some appointments, and then we go through and I'll show you step by step, and that first day, I booked 7 or 8 appointments out of the gate my first day out, and she's like, okay, not many people do 7 or 8 their first day, but okay, But after that first day, the light clicked, and it was like, oh, this is what we do, And it would have been easier for me, knowing that if I would have done a ride along and I could have seen the process and I could have taken a little bit of that in, I think I would have been able to work toward that easier, So sometimes, and I would also say to your question, don't take too much, because and we've got some agents now that that jumping into life, they're jumping into Medicare, they're jumping into ACA, they're jumping into and it just becomes almost too much.
Yeah.
Take one lane and get good at one lane, and stay in that lane till you've maybe not mastered it, but till you feel comfortable,
right?
And then add
Expand
another vertical, add
and-
another, because you're better to be good at one thing rather than halfway at a bunch of things.
Mediocre.
Yeah,
everything
that's
else.
right.
Yeah, love
Yep.
that. Okay, so let's wrap it up with this. I know you guys are looking to grow your business. I also know that you guys are not looking to add just anybody that has a pulse and can get a license, right? Describe for me, and whoever wants to can take this. Describe the agent that you're looking for. What are you looking for in an agent that you could say, okay, that's the person to come inside to join Insurance Educators, and we're willing to invest time and effort and money into that person?
I'm going to say somebody that's got some energy
Okay.
and some drive and that really wants to be in this industry to help people, because that's why we're in this industry.
Yeah.
I mean, that is more satisfying than anything, is how many people we can help and lives that we can change. And, those are really the people I want to be on our team.
Yeah.
They're going to be, take some initiative and all of that, and just really be in it to help people.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
To want to
Yeah,
make a
and-
difference in people's lives.
That's
Yep.
right. We want difference makers. More so, I'm okay bringing somebody on that, whether they be young, be old, whatever, a go-getter that wants to knock down a bunch of money. I'm okay with that if there's other things in the mix.
If there's a
that
purpose
push
for the
them.
money, yeah.
That's right. If they're just looking to make a bunch of commission and whatever, and they don't have any values that align with us, that's not for our team. We want people that align with our values and impacts values, that can make a difference and that represent our agency and that's out there to help people.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
That's awesome.
Educate along the way. So
Awesome. Well, guys, when I asked you guys to come on, Sydney laughed at me. I can show you all the group text. She's like,
might not say what she said.
yeah, please, this is a family show. No, she's like, are you kidding? You want us to come during AEP and kill an hour? That's like $42,000 worth of business now. I'm like, okay. But no, I really do appreciate you guys coming on. And
problem.
it's been an absolute pleasure. This is going to help some people. It really is, because there's people out there that are like, man, my past is hindering me. I've got bankruptcies. Man, you can get through it. Like, you guys have done it.
Yep.
It's going to help some people. There's people out there going, man, maybe I should jump in the family business. Maybe I should help dad, or maybe I should help mom, or maybe I should hire the daughter. It's doable. You guys can do it. There's people out there that are sitting there going, man, maybe I should let somebody else handle this part of the business so that I can do this. Man, do it. There's humility there and all that, but it really works out for the better. So
Yep.
Most
thank you
definitely.
guys very
Thank
much.
you.
For being on.
Thank
It's
you.
been good.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this today. I've enjoyed it. It's been good for me to sit here and listen and see people that are family, that are able, willing, and actually enjoy working together. That's pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please, I did forget. If they want to get a hold of you guys, what's the best way to look y'all up?
Caught you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, we do have it to look us up. You want a phone number, or
Well, if they
Email,
want
phone,
to email, phone, whatever the best
Email.
way to get a hold of you guys.
you want the email? rmtsig@gmail.com.
rmtsig@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then-
perfect.
And then
Our office number.
our office number is 417-218-0088.
Well, now now we're recording here. I want to do one more thing. I haven't seen y'all on social.
We have a Facebook
Okay.
page.
We got a
Okay.
Facebook page.
Now,
No,
And
no,
the
no. I'm
website's
talking
coming.
TikTok.
Now.
I'm
That's
talking.
coming.
That's
after
coming.
January.
Okay.
That's
That's
a New Year's
coming.
resolution.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and our
wanna see it.
website is in the works and almost
Almost
finished, but
Okay.
we had to put the brakes on because it was coming together right before
Right. Okay.
AP. So that'll be
But
hopefully.
it will be theinsuranceeducators.com.
Yeah.
Okay. All I heard is we will see Rusty dancing on a TikTok. That's
We may not see that, but we will be
We
seeing
will.
TikTok.
I like it. Guys, again, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate you. Please like, please share. If you're someone that is like, you know what? Those are the people that I like, that I want to work with. Reach out to them. It may be a good fit for you. Again, appreciate you guys coming on. We will see you next week on the Medicare Sales Playbook.